I'm Dr. Cat, not to be confused with Dr. Evil's cat, you know, that cat from Austin Powers. I don't look like that. Nor do I spend all day concocting evil plans. I concoct experiments about the immune system and health. And you might be familiar with getting your public health advice and messages from Dan Andrews and Brett Sutton. But back in the 90s, we got our health messages from talking animals. And I don't mean animal caricatures of politicians. I mean talking animals, like the talking seagull that told us to slip, slop, slap. We also had Harold the giraffe telling us to get in the van. You'll learn some things, kids. I don't know how well that flies in 2024. So these messages have evolved since. And the seagull now says, slip, slop, slap, seek, slide, give me some chips. All of this is to make sure that we stay sun smart. I don't know what the chips have to do with it, but if you get into the shade of a van, you're protected from sunburn. Rope burn though? Sorry. This talk is rated 30 plus. SPF 30 plus. So, if you slop on that SPF and you wear your sunscreen, you're usually protected from the sun and you don't go red. I got a little bit backwards. I went really red. So I found out that I was allergic to a particular sunscreen, and that looks a little bit scary. It kind of reminds me of Freddy Krueger. So can you imagine going to the beach, it's a nice day, and then you bump into this? It was not pleasant for me, and it was also very unpleasant and uncomfortable for everyone around me. So, I'm not alone in this struggle, thankfully. There are 3% of people who have bad reactions to sunscreens and other skincare products. 3% is a decent number of people. It's more than the number of Australians who are over 85. It's more than those who have red hair. And it's also more than the number who managed to score tickets to Taylor Swift's concert. I did the maths. So, with so many people having these allergies, I wanted to know, as an immunologist, why do some people have allergies to sunscreens? And I know that question or that phrasing makes me sound like I'm on Facebook going, as a mother, I want to know what's in sunscreens because I think Big Pharma or Big Sunscreen is after my child. I'm also a little bit worried about what the Facebook algorithm thinks that I'm after I searched up that post or that group. But I'm not a mother, as far as I know. But I have done my own research, not research on Facebook, but research wearing a lab coat, which makes it a little bit more legit. And kudos to any mothers in the room. You are amazing. You raise your children, and you had to hold you had your child for 9 months in you, and then you pushed it out. I hope it had fewer jagged edges than my thesis did. But in all seriousness, I do have something in common with some mothers. Our story starts when protection failed us. So, with my story, I'm the immunologist and I'm also the guinea pig. I tested different sunscreens to work out which ones people are allergic to so that no one else has to. And, you know, what could go wrong? I'm a cat. I have 9 lives, so it's fine. I also might have a little bit of an identity crisis. So, I'm an immunologist. Let's talk about the immune system. I study special immune cells called T cells, and these are like security guards that patrol the body to work out whether what's inside you comes from you or if it doesn't. And if your T cells come across something that comes from outside your body, like invading bacteria and viruses, then they will attack. And they have different superpowers to do this. We have killer T cells, which shoot out ninja stars that enforce quarantine. We're all very familiar with quarantine now. You're isolated, you bake a lot of bread. But T-cell quarantine is even stricter than Melbourne's lockdowns. If T-cells see an infected cell, they will kill it because it can't spread the infection if it's dead. Brutal, but effective. We also have helper T-cells, which are like Superman. They can just do like lots of different things, lots of superpowers, and they also call on all the other Avengers and they go fight and... Hang on, I think I'm mixing up the universes here. But they do call on other immune cells and they coordinate the response. So T-cells are great fighters, but they're really, really fussy. They're looking out in your body for lots of different things like oils and proteins and vitamins. Lovely diet. But they won't see any of that unless it's presented nicely as a present. And different things have different shapes, so proteins, oils, and things like that. And come Christmas time, when you're wrapping up all of the presents, I don't know if you've noticed, but you can't use the same gift wrapping paper for everything because of the shape. Some things you can use paper, some things you have to use a bag or gift box or things like that. So we have different gift wrap for different things, proteins, oils, and all those sorts of things. So I'm interested in those T-cells that look out for oils. And they have lots of different superpowers. They're a little bit like killers, they're a little bit like those helper Superman. They can do all the things, except look out for oils just by themselves. Because remember, they need the oils to be fancy and gift wrap. And the special wrapping paper that I'm looking at is called CD1A. And the T-cells that look for oils that are gift wrapped in CD1A are called CD1A restricted T-cells, which is a little bit of a mouthful, so let's go with cat cells. I didn't name them. Now, I'm not one of those scientists who goes around naming things after themselves. I don't have the ego of a middle-aged white man. But I'm not going to complain that this cat studies cat cells. So cat cells are in your body, patrolling, looking around, looking for body oils, but not body oils that you lather on, rather oils that we make in our bodies all the time. And cat cells are like, yep, that's fine, they belong here. But just on a side note, can you imagine cat cells getting these presents of oil? Like you unwrap it, it's just oil. Oil is kind of like liquid coal, right? So I don't know what these cat cells did, but I don't think Santa's happy. But every now and then, cat cells will come across oils that have come from bacteria and viruses, and that's when they're like, oh, something's wrong, got to attack. But can you always trust a cat? This one looks a little bit suspicious. So it's great when they get it right. It's great when they fight invaders, but sometimes cat cells can see something that is harmless, but they see it as dangerous. And I've made that mistake. I don't know if you've ever had a massive pile of clothes in your bedroom, and it's fine, it's harmless. And then you take your glasses off, and it's the middle of the night, and it's a Victorian ghost that's out to get you. It's a bit scary. So when cat cells are seeing things that are usually harmless and seeing them as something that is harmful, that's when there's a problem. They'll attack, and that causes allergies. Now, going back to my allergy, this is what had happened. I realized that I was allergic to a particular sunscreen, and a normal person would have just never used the sunscreen again. But I'm an immunologist, and I was like, ooh, what's going on? And remember, I am the guinea pig in this story, so I tested it, and I had my allergy, and I gave it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it wasn't that sunscreen, and so I tested the sunscreen again, and I had an allergy. And in science, we like this rule of 3, n equals 3. So I tested it again, and now I'm down to 6 labs. So I was really curious. I wanted to know, why was I having this allergy? And so I emailed the company, and I really felt like a Karen. So I tried to be nice about it, but I felt like a Karen. And they treated me like a Karen. They sent me an email reply, but they also sent me a letter in the mail that had a pamphlet that said, this is how you actually apply sunscreen. But I know how to apply sunscreen. I listened to the seagull. So their response, or whoever wrote that response, can get in the van for all I care about. But they did also give me a list of the different ingredients that were in this new sunscreen, as well as the ingredients that were in the sunscreens that I'd used before. And I just did a little bit of a spot the difference. I was looking out for what ingredients were in this new sunscreen that weren't ever on my skin before. Perhaps that's what I was allergic to. And it came down to 2, and one of them was an oil that had the right kind of shape to be wrapped up by CD1A and presented as a gift to cat cells. I study cat cells. What a coincidence. So I bought the oil. It was like $5 to buy the bottle of the oil. So I bought the oil as well as the sunscreen, and I brought them into the lab, but I used like all the protection. I was like double gloved, long sleeves. I'm not letting this touch me again. And so I wanted to do 2 different things. I wanted to know, does this oil actually get wrapped up by CD1A? And it does. And my second question was, okay, if this oil is wrapped up by CD1A and then given to T cells or cat cells, will they react? And they did. They attack. So what my theory is now is that some people are putting this sunscreen on their skin, and that oil is wrapped up by CD1A. Cat cells see it and they attack because they think something's wrong. They think it's an invader. So they harness their superpowers and they call on other immune cells and they fight, and that causes an allergy. So now I'm allergic to lots of different sunscreens and skincare products, but yay, science! Now I've expanded my research to look at different medicines and different skincare products to work out what ingredients are people allergic to and why? Because no one should have to suffer for trying to slip, slop, slap. It's called skincare, not skin scare. And I want to leave you with a final public health message. And I said back in the 90s, they came from talking animals. So I'm gonna use a little spirit animal to help me here. I don't know why this image exists on the internet, but I think we've been through similar things. So I'm gonna leave you with this message, not from a talking animal, but from a singing cat. Some seagull once told me to slip, slop, slap some sunscreen, so I lathered it all over my head. But then my skin went itchy, I realized I was allergic, with a big rash making my face red. Hey now, it's those cat cells, they're attacking my skin. Cat cells, they see oils that are gift wrapped in CD1A, and all they're trying to do is only shooting ninja stars at invaders. This message is not authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.